Hey you guys, welcome to Mushroom Wonderland. My name is Aaron Hilliard. Today I'm going to do kind of a short video, one about microscopy. It's winter time, not a lot of mushrooms growing out there. It froze hard last week here, so one thing that's fun to do is take a specimen that I collected. I actually collected this one last week and dried it, but I'm going to do a little bit of microscopy because it's kind of a strange specimen. I was a little bit confused by these specimens. I thought, are they Calicera viscosa? Is this the jelly antler? They're much too robust to be a jelly antler, I thought. So I put them on iNaturalist. I couldn't get any good identification suggestions from iNaturalist. I put it on the identification forum, and Kendra Dudinsky thinks that it's a type of Clavulinopsis. And so I'm going to do a little bit of microscopy, see if I can look at some of these features and determine what it is based on microscopy, or at least get close or rule some things out. I'm going to show you how to just take a little section and look at it under the microscope of the cellular structures of this little mushroom here.
Welcome to Mushroom Wonderland.
So this is not the greatest stereoscope. Real ones have like binoculars on them. This one's got an LCD screen, but it's not bad. It actually works okay. So I can see the specimen right there. You can see the tips of my forceps right there. And so it does definitely do the job. If you're used to using binoculars, you might not like this as much, but it's kind of what I got used to. So it works pretty good for me. So we're going to get just a tiny little sliver of the cells of the edge of one of these forks right here. And there should be some spores there and some cells and stuff. So I'm using this Gillette razor, super thin razor here. This one's split in half. I don't trust myself using the whole thing like I see other people do. But this is much thinner than these utility blades like this. So I can get a really thin section with this super thin razor blade. Alright, so I'm going to take my specimen. And this is kind of cool because I can adjust these lights as I need them. I don't want direct light on there, but then I can focus it. Now I'm going to take my really thin razor and see if I can just slice a tiny little section. You see that? There it is. I got the little piece of the tip right there. And so I'm going to refocus this. And I'm going to get a small section of this little piece. So this little piece is so small that you can hardly see it with your eye. So there's the little piece right there. If you can see it, that's still too big for what I want to do. We got to get like one single layer of cells thin because we need the light to be able to pass through it. And with this being the size that it is and all of that pigmentation, it's a pretty big piece of material. The light won't really pass through and let me see exactly what's going on. So I'm going to take this small little piece and I'm going to section it. So carefully using my forceps, working through the screen. I'm going to kind of stabilize it with my forceps and then come in here and just slice this into some really small little pieces. There we go. Now you can see I've got an array of little pieces. That really big one right there, I'm going to get that out of there. So there we go. We got a little bit of material. I'm going to kind of spread it out. There's one you can see right there on my razor. That's too big. But those right there, I like literally can barely see them with my naked eye. And that's only because the light is good on them. So there's our little tiny pieces. I mean, they're so small, you really can't even see them with the naked eye. But I can see them pretty good in the stereoscope. This is 5% KOH or potassium hydroxide. And I can see the pieces in my viewfinder there. I'm going to put just a nice drop of this right on those pieces. KOH is a great wettening agent, so it's going to really rehydrate this tissue really quickly. Water would not rehydrate it that quick, but so I got some pieces in the fluid there. There we go. Perfect. Kind of scoot those in there. And sometimes I'll even let it sit and just kind of let those pieces rehydrate. And then I'm going to drop a cover slip onto it. So here's my cover slip. These ones are plastic, so they're bendable, which is kind of nice. They don't break real easy, but they do scratch. So you got to be kind of careful about that using these sharp forceps. I'm going to just start with one corner, drop it on there. I don't know if you saw that, but it really laid down nice. I don't think there's any air bubbles in there, but we're going to squish it just to push any air out. Between the slide and the cover slip is the KOH liquid and then our fungal material. And so I can use this and just ever so gently kind of squish it down, and it's pushing air out to the corners, and it's flattening out our material so the light can pass through it in the microscope. And you can see on the screen this little blob. That's like one cell layer thick of material. I can't see it with my naked eye, but in here I can definitely see it. So we are ready to go into the compound microscope. Take the dust cover off. This is my compound microscope. This is like a Swift, a pretty cheap microscope that I got on Amazon for maybe 300 bucks. And then I've got some different objectives. So the lenses are called objectives. That one was actually pretty loose. But we always start with the smallest objective and then work our way up all the way to this 100, which is an oil immersion objective. So you have to put a little drip of cedar oil onto the slide, and then it actually submerges the lens in the oil, and that helps to magnify it. We'll just start with this one, which is the 4x, and then we have the 10x eyepieces. So this is 40 times the size of regular, and we can at least just get the material into view, and then we can start to switch it to bigger objectives and move it around. There's a couple controls on the compound microscope you should know about. On the back, I have a switch that turns the light on down here, and this is the light that shoots up through here. I can move the table up and down to focus it with these knobs. So here's your coarse adjustment. This is the fine adjustment to really bring things into focus. And then I have this little stick right here that has two knobs on it. One of them goes left and right. One of them goes backwards and forwards. So we can look around the stage at the different parts of our material. Here we focus, and here we can change the objectives. So again, we'll start with the 4x, and that is going to just get everything kind of into view and get it focused. All right, so I got my slide there with the material mounted on it. Put it on the stage. This little arm kind of holds it into place. And now I'm going to just get it into rough view. There we go. I can see the pieces of material in here. All right, there you go. We're starting to see some fungal material in the microscope. That's with the lowest magnification at just 40x. And so we're going to jump up to 10x, which is 100 times the regular size, but you can already tell that we can see some fungal structures and stuff there. So let's bump it up to the next objective. It's really hard to make these microscopy videos and make them entertaining and like get the camera good enough to see what's going on. So please bear with me. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, please put it in the comments. I could make more, but they're just really hard to do, and I just don't know if people care that much. But cool, I'm starting to see some spores, so that's awesome. We've got spores that we can measure, and some cystidia and stuff to look at. So this is it magnified 100 times, and just around the edges I can start to see the shape of spores. They're still really small, and so to measure them I actually need to have it in the oil immersion, but we're going to step it up to the 400x. So that'll be 400 times the size of normal, and we'll be able to really start to see the spores and stuff then. Alright, so I just switched the objective over to the next bigger one, which is 40x, and then my eyepieces are 10x, so that's putting it at 400 times magnification. And cool, I'm seeing a lot of spores. And these spores have some pretty good little apiculi. So the apiculus is a little attachment point where it attached to the basidia. And so on one end it'll be the apiculi, and the other end it will be the germ pore. And these ones have a pretty pronounced apiculi, which is nice. I can't really see the germ pore here, but I'm trying to find the biggest amount of them so that I can magnify it. So here's an area where it's probably the highest concentration of loose spores, mature spores. So here you can see quite a bit of the spores in this little area. That's those little round things. But as I scan around the material using those little knobs on the side, moving the stage, I can look for more. And I see a lot of different spores, a lot of different fungal structures. We can see the mycelium. We can look for clamp connections, which is pretty tricky to find sometimes. And I'll need the bigger magnifier to do that. Look, there's a nice group of spores right there in the middle. So I can run these into a computer program I have called Pixie-meter, which will measure each spore, which is kind of nice. And you should have an average of 30 spores to get correct spore size. So now we're going to go up to the 100x. That's the oil immersion objective, and we'll have a look at this as close as we can with this microscope. All right, so right here I have immersion oil, which is like cedar oil usually, and it smells really good, but this is just immersion oil, so it's synthetic and it doesn't smell like anything. So I'm going to go between these two objectives, and I'm going to put just a nice drip and a half of oil there. One drip of oil will do. And now I'm going to just slide the 100x objective into place. And it's going to take just a little bit of tweaking with the focus. And I'll see my spores come into focus. And right down here is what's called the diaphragm. And I can slide this thing to allow more light in, which gives less contrast. The darker it is, the more contrast you have, but it's harder to see them. So I have this knob on the side where I can make it brighter or dimmer. So I'm going to turn it all the way up, and then I'm going to use the diaphragm to bring quite a bit of contrast. And now I can see these spores pretty good, and I think it'll be good enough to take that photo and then measure them. All right, so here we can see the spores 100 times magnified. It's as big as this microscope will go. And as I focus it, you can see the edge of the spore get blurry and then going the other way. So we want it to get it as fine and as sharp as we can, just kind of like that. And there you can see the apiculus. That's the little tail coming off of the spore, and that's where it connected to the basidia. So I'm going to take some nice photos of this at 100x. And then put them into my computer, and then we'll measure the spores. All right, so I got a bunch of photos of this slide with all of the different features on there. I couldn't really record that because I'm recording this on my phone. So I get the phone set up on the tripod just perfect here. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Some of them have a trinocular that you can mount your camera on. This is just a cheap beginner microscope, but it works pretty good if you just put the lens right up there and get it in focus and get it still. I took pictures all over the place, so we're going to put those into the computer, and then I'm going to point out the different structures that are on there. So hopefully we got some great pictures there. So hopefully I got some good pictures, and I'm going to put them in the computer, and let's check them out. So I decided to jump over to mushroomexpert.com, Michael Kuo's website, where he does a lot of cool microscopy, and I see that the Clavulinopsis corniculata should have spores that are 4.5 to 7 microns, globose or subglobose, smooth with prominent apiculus. So basidia are 4-spored. All right, I've tried to use the Pixie meter. It just was not working, so I went to update the new version. I deleted the old version, and it is impossible. My new Windows, I got a brand new PC that I built, I got a brand new HP laptop, and neither of them will let me download the new Pixie meter. I don't know if it's a glitch on the website or the new Windows or what's going on. I've tried every conceivable way. So I'm using this spore measuring application that somebody reached out to me and they had made, which is really kind of cool. So I can measure these spores just like that. Just tap the two different sides, and then I get measurements, and I can go through and measure each spore just like that. We're kind of going from edge to edge. Okay, so 4.4, 4.2, 4.7, 4.3, 4.7, 4.7. So that actually lines up with the 4.5 to 4.7 that we have on the Calabi-Linopsis corniculata. So, using microscopy, we can really kind of start to compare it and see that this is, in fact, the same mushrooms. Now, I've heard you need 30 spores to get a real average. So, yeah. It tells me I got 9 spores, and then it tells the dimensions. Probably worth some DNA sequencing on this particular specimen. But I do think it is the Calabi-Linopsis corniculata or something close to that anyways, but fun to do the microscopy. So let's look at some of the fungal structures, and I'll help describe those with some nice pointers and stuff. All right, so here's a picture of the spores. As we zoom in a little bit, you can start to see this round shape, and it's not perfectly round, and that is globose, or subglobose would mean not perfectly round. Some people would pronounce it globose. But here we can see a basidia. So take a look right here. There's the basidia. This is the cell that the spores are grown on. And then right here we have 4 spores. 4 spores per basidia is pretty usual. Sometimes it's just 2 spores, and once in a while you can find basidia with 8 spores on certain species. Here we zoom in. Here's another basidia. More spores. There's one behind the other right there that you can't see as well. And then the one in the top right is detached from the basidia. But this is how the spores get born on fungal structures on this little branch called a sterigma or a sterigmata. And that is little branches that connect the spore to the basidia. Here is a little baby spore being born on one of the basidia. And you can see that really long sterigma or sterigmata. So let's take a look at these spores up close, and they have this thing called an apiculus, and this is the little attachment that was on the sterigma to the spore, so kind of like the stem on an apple or something like that. And these ones have really pronounced apiculus. Here's another picture of some spores being born on basidia. Right, so there you go. Pretty basic video, kind of giving you the idea of some of these fungal structures. Hopefully this was a little bit helpful. Wasn't the greatest microscopy, but we got to see the spores and measure them. We got to see the basidia and what those look like and some of the other fungal structures. So, if you like these kind of videos, make sure to leave it in the comments and I'll try to make more of them. Spring is coming in a couple of months and we'll start to see more mushrooms coming up. But until then, I'll keep making videos, and I have a lot more footage about my Kauai adventure, so that'll be fun. So stay tuned. I'm also going back to Hawaii in a few weeks to the Big Island. So more mushroom videos from the islands where it's warm and the mushrooms are growing. If you guys like these kind of videos, again, put it in the comments. Make sure to go to my website, mushroomwonderland.com, if you want to get some merch, help support me. Or you can follow me on all the other social medias. I have psychedelic mushroom stuff over on Patreon, as well as other exclusive releases just for Patreon members. So hopefully this was helpful and you got some value out of it. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Much love, everyone. Peace out.